artist printmaker. So I mainly print from found wood, and this is a piece of wood that I found at a skip at my old studio, and usually I take some time to carve into the wood before printing it, so that's what I'm doing right now. It's just carving into it, and sometimes it's kind of more calculated or drawn, and sometimes more experimental. And I've already taken one print from this piece of wood without having done any carving, and often I'll print multiple images from the same piece of wood and begin to build installations from it. What I'm doing now is I'm just gonna get some ink out so that I can start printing. Okay, so now I'm gonna mix up the ink. This part is kind of fun. So now I'm just putting on the first coat of ink, but we'll need to build up a bit. Yeah, so I work across different kinds of printmaking, but mainly relief printing, and sometimes monoprint as well. And the piece that I just had in the Festival of Print was a monoprint that I made with a collaborator who's working on a theater performance, who actually shares the studio. And that was a print about Holocaust. I'm gonna do maybe like one more layer. So the themes that my work explores, I'm really interested in a sense of our own mortality and death and how we relate to that on a day-to-day basis, which is why I'm also really interested in printmaking and the idea of the multiple and how we repeat the same activities each and every day. Also a sense of like our own bodies and how that maps out into the natural world and how we're kind of part of nature. So working with images of the natural world plus as well as images of our own bodies and ecosystems to portray a sense of our own mortality and dying. And I think I probably said this before about how, in the midst of what we're dealing with the climate crisis and mass extinction, and also like the recent genocide of my people during the Holocaust, like thinking about how death plays out on a mass scale and how our bodies and systems respond to that. So I'm interested in like how we begin to react to these emerging crises that are like popping up around the world through repetition and practice, and through, I guess, a kind of dedication and commitment that we can create by repeating. Yeah, so I definitely get inspired by doing research and looking at other people's work, but also I've had this book for ages, The Gorgeous Nothings by Emily Dickinson, and over the summer when I was on a residency at Cove Park, I was working on actually creating my own little fragments, which I can't find to show you right now, but they were kind of these journals or diaries of my great-great-grandmother that I was kind of channeling. But in general, I guess that's kind of led me to start exploring like creating these fragments, which I've put on top of all of my to-do lists. In general, I definitely get inspired by what I read and the shows that I see and my meditation practice and various collaborations as well. At the moment, it's like twofold. It's like both a sense, like a deep sense of our own impermanence and our own dying, and at the same time, like a sense of like why and what life is about, which sounds really kind of cliche, but like what the processes are that we go through, both in our day-to-day lives, but also in terms of our like inherited trauma and how we deal with that. So it's like we are existing in this moment in time, and yet we're like deeply bound up in everything before and after. So that's kind of what I try to convey. when I was in high school, my art teachers would always push me to do printmaking, and yet I just was always painting. So I had this massive canvas that I was working on, making a really horrible painting because I was just not a good painter. And I had created this whole fort, and I would just like live in the painting department in high school, just making really like angsty, horrible work that I then have not continued to do. And then was like, I'm not gonna do printmaking. And I guess what I liked about painting at that time was that I could really just let out emotions very raw in a kind of raw and very quick way. And then when I was in university, so there was one class, and one of the like 3 art professors was like, you should take printmaking. And at that point there wasn't many options. And I'd already taken the painting class and not done very well. And they offered an advanced printmaking class, and then we also had the option to take classes at the Fashion Institute of Technology. And there I was able to take like also a more advanced printmaking class and learn new techniques, and I absolutely loved it. And it felt like my work was finally looking like it was coming out in a really great way. And it was just a lot more interesting than any of my paintings or drawings. So then was doing that, and then moved to Jerusalem for a year and struggled to like make work there for a whole load of reasons, and just found like the political climate really challenging, but was teaching a bit of printmaking at this kind of women's art college thing. And since doing that degree, I've just continued working in print and doing both relief printmaking but also water-based monoprints, which is a technique that I learned when we couldn't do oil-based monoprints back in undergrad because of all the different restrictions around toxicity. And so, yeah, that's kind of how I got into it and how I've continued working in it. So I have a few upcoming shows. So one is it's in the end of November at a small gallery called Strange Parade. And I'm going to be making work for this evening that's a kind of performance-based, immersive music. There's a bunch of different forms of art happening, and I've been selected as the artist to show work in that space. And other places to see my work soon, as part of the collaboration that I've done on the theatre piece, Holocaust Brunch. That show is touring around the country, and so there'll be a chance hopefully to see my work at different venues like the Manchester Jewish Museum, the Manchester Jewish Museum. And then other upcoming shows include, I've just finished crowdfunding for a show at the Lumen Crypt Gallery, so with a peer mentor who I met last year at a early career development program based in Newcastle at the Newbridge Project called the Collective Studio. So we were accepted to do a collaborative show at the Lumen Crypt Gallery, and we've just successfully crowdfunded over £1,500, so I'm quite happy with that, and we'll have a show sometime this year, and also working on a show with a group of friends from the MA at Camberwell, hopefully in Peckham at some point this summer. So those are the upcoming times to see my work.